What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of NBA Live at 5. I am here once again joined by Jaguar Lou. What's going on, Lou?
Nothing much, Fuego. I'm looking at a pretty juicy slate here. We got a couple of injuries that make things a little bit easier, so I'm excited to dive into this slate with you.
Nice. I'm trying to make sure we're broadcasting. Okay, it says we're broadcasting. All right, and we got 6 viewers. All right, guys. Speaking of, we had some discussion. Oops, stop my can't listen to myself as I'm talking. There's some questions in chat, and we ask about putting up. It's only if you're watching on YouTube can you ask the question. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that fixed. So if you're watching it on the site, you can ask questions while we talk, and then we can actually answer them on air. So we're going to work on getting that up right next to that box. But if you are watching on YouTube, I'll try to check in there as well. But basically, we got a big 11-game slate tonight. There is lots of places you can go. There's a few places you shouldn't go. We got some over-unders at 228, 227s, 221s, 219s, and we got some all the way down in the 198 range. Though, how do you take over-unders into account, Lou, in general? Do you put a ton of weight? Do you put a little weight, or do you put a lot of weight into or at least team implied points?
I actually don't put too much emphasis compared to my peers that I see at live finals and just everyone that I know. I have no problem playing one player that's in a perfect matchup in under 200 implied total. The over-unders wouldn't take me off of a player. I'm more of a matchup kind of guy, and I want to see how the game is going to play out. And some of those under 200 over-under games can have one guy that gets majority of the points. I think back to Gordon Hayward over on Utah last season. They were very slow paced, but he got the majority of the steals, the blocks, the assists, the boards. So on certain days in the right matchup, it wouldn't really matter the over-under. In terms of stacking a game, I don't often stack in NBA, that is. But I don't, obviously you look at a 230 over-under, you're going to want exposure from there. I'm not saying that's not the play, but I just think that the matchup is what you should be looking at, and the game flow and the recent logs and how the game is actually going to play out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, I think if you're looking at, say, a game stack, like you mentioned, yeah, you're going to want to look at a 228 game stack. You're not going to want to game stack the 198. However, if you're looking at individual players, you got that matchup, and just because a team's only is supposed to score 100 compared to another team that's supposed to score 110, and that guy is going to get the majority of the work in that 100-point effort. This isn't baseball where they're going to be shut out. They're still going to put up 100 points or whatever it might be. It's a great thing. I'll use it as tiebreakers. I use it to target the ancillary players, I like to call them, the non-stars, the cheaper players. Okay, if I'm taking a $3,500 or $4,000 flyer on someone, sure, I prefer it to be in the higher over under, right? Because then you have those more opportunities, and that's what we love, the opportunities. But that's great calls there. I definitely don't look at whoever it may be and think, oh my God, he's in a low over under. I'm not playing him if he has the best matchup against shooting guards that night. So that's a great call. All right, let's dive in here. Point guard. We have Mr. Steph Curry is the most expensive on FanDuel at 9,900. Then it drops to Kyrie Irving at 85, Schroeder 84, who I really like tonight. Kemba Walker I also like at 78, and Dinwiddie 75. These three guys, Schroeder, are probably who I'm going to target as opposed to Curry, Irving, and maybe not go as low. But those are three I really like. And then you got Peyton and Bledsoe round out the top seven. Or the big guns. Who are some of these guys you're paying up for, if any, tonight, Lou?
Yeah, so when I first looked at the night, Curry, I like Curry a lot at 9,900. If he plays, he's got that game time decision designation next to his name, which I hope keeps people off of him. But he is probable for tonight, and he is in a very good matchup against Rajon Rondo, so I have no problem playing Steph Curry. And then when you go down, yeah, I right now my cash game lineups involve Dennis Schroeder and Spencer Dinwiddie going up against each other. The best DVPs of the night. And just so you guys know, going forward, Tyler Ulis is giving up massive DVP numbers. And you're going to say why you mentioning that. This is the point guard position. But Tyler Ulis is going up against actually JJ Redick. If you look at the Philly-Phoenix game, the projected matchups, Redick's going to be going up against Ulis. So don't get sucked in to playing Simmons or someone that you think is going up against Ulis, like, because you would think that Booker and the matchups are a little bit skewed. Covington's on Booker, Redick's going to be up against Ulis, and Warren's going up against Saric. So from this game, I actually am going to have massive exposure to Redick. But to go back to point guards, I still think Steph Curry's elite if he plays. And I really do love the Spencer Dinwiddie, Dennis Schroeder connection. Schroeder's a horrible defender. I don't know if I don't know why that is, but because he has these like glimpses of like great defensive plays, but for the most part, I guess he's just a safe play tonight at 8,400. He's hit 34 at least in 4 out of his last 5. He's maintaining.
Yeah, I like that Dinwiddie Schroeder combination for sure. Some of the mid-price guys, these are the guys that you always. They're usually like safe for about 20 points, but you never know, or 20, 25. But what's going to happen after that? You got Jeff Teague, Darren Collison, Rajon Rondo, Jamal Murray, Reggie Jackson, who I've been playing quite a bit recently, Dennis Smith Jr., Ricky Rubio. All these guys are in that range. You hope one of them pops a 40 off is what you're hoping. I like Collison at 59. He's the guy that does have that high ceiling sometimes. I probably not going to go back to Reggie Jackson. You got Jarrett Jack down at 4,800. Mike James at 4,500. Man, Mike James he plays well when he's in there, but he splits that time with Ulis. So that's annoying. We've talked about that before. Talking about some of these mid-range guys or any low-end guys that you would play tonight.
Well, you went like straight mid-range, but there's a couple of plays that are a little bit lower than the guys we were just talking about at Dinwiddie. I love Chris Dunn. Against what I assume will be Jose.
I skipped over him, yeah.
No, Chris Dunn has a huge, like we've seen his ceiling against Phoenix. He had 49 points in 32 minutes. I've talked about him all year. Providence college grad. You're looking at a URI grad over here, so I'm supposed to hate him. But he is a great defender. And yeah, he's in a nice matchup against Cleveland. I'm looking at the matchup. It should be Jose Calderon. Let me just make sure really quick. If it is Calderon, I expect him to have a bunch. He's going up against Calderon. I expect him to have a bunch of steals, a bunch of blocks, and I think he can score pretty. I think he could put up at least 12 to 17 points, actual points.
Yeah, tonight. I think I like Holiday better. That's why I skipped over Dunn. I like Holiday at shooting guard, I think, going up against him better than I do Dunn at point guard. But I did skip over Peyton and Bledsoe as well. So you like Dunn. Any other ones you like?
Jamal Murray. I wrote him up. Oh, I didn't write him up. I mentioned him as another play. I mentioned him as another play in my article the other day. He has a good matchup against Dennis Smith Jr. He hit a huge ceiling his last game, and that's not a coincidence. It's because I always mix up. Not Jurčić. No. What are the differences? Jokic and Nurkic. Those guys are. Some of these names in the NFL and the NBA are killing my my dyslexia. But yeah. So Jamal Murray has to step it up now that they don't have the Joker. So what better matchup to take advantage of than Jamal Murray against a poor defender in Dennis Smith Jr.? I mean, we were targeting it all year for a little while, and then it kind of fell off. But DVPs are still there. And Jamal Murray in his last game, the only game he's played without the Joker, is 42.8 points in 33 minutes. So why not fire him up?
It was funny. I had missed the news, and I had saw optimizers giving Plumlee. I'm like, why are they giving Plumlee so many points? And I'm like, Joker's got to be out. And yes, he is. Yeah. All right. So Jamal Murray, I could play Rondo. He's been playing pretty well. He's going up against Curry. I don't mind that at 57. Other side of the ball, Dennis Smith Jr. Denver's not good, I don't think, against point guards. Let's see. Maybe they are good against the point guards.
If Steph Curry doesn't play, I think Sean Livingston is a lock and load.
Yeah, I think he's going to play.
I think he is too, but on the off chance that he doesn't, Sean Livingston should definitely be able to take advantage of a Rajon Rondo matchup. I hate Rajon Rondo. Just as like a freaking fantasy. Like he's the kind of guy like you won't take him and then he'll go off like last year he'll go off for like 60 fantasy
a triple double, right?
And then you'll target him because he's always been the worst defender in the world, and then he'll shut down like Damian Lillard. So
well, I think without Davis out, I think it's helped. His last two games, he has 36 and 37 FanDuel points, and that's what it was at 4,800. His price has jumped to 57. That's what you have to worry about. But that was 4,800, and he put up 36 and 37, and I think it's because Davis is out, and I think Davis is out again. So I think you could go back to Rondo. My opinion, and I'm sticking to it. What about any punt plays like Jerian Grant, Mike James, Tyler Hughes, Ish Smith, Tony Parker? Any punting down there?
No, my point guard punt is actually a shooting guard because I told you guys going up against. We'll talk about it right now, but I love JJ Redick tonight.
I like JJ Redick tonight too. We're move over.
He's too expensive though. Why is he 57?
Because he's been playing well. I mean, listen to
yeah, but well for Redick. 32, 32, 35.
3 of his last 5, he's over 30. So that makes sense for 5,700.
Yeah, but now he's in a good matchup, and I see a 40-point ceiling for him. But when I noticed the favorable stats, I thought I was going to get him at 49. I didn't think I was going to get him at 57. I mean, 49 at most.
Yeah, well, he's been in the 5s now for a while. It's been probably a month almost that he's been in the 5s because he was, 29, 26, 30, 35, 32, 32, 42 one time back in the beginning of November. So he does the problem with Redick, he puts the 16, 18 point duds, but I like Redick quite a bit at 5,700. Back to the top at Oladipo, 92. He's the only high price guy. I can't believe he's up to 9,200, but I guess the numbers don't lie. 68 points his last time out. 49, 53, 25, 73. Those are his last 5. He's got a 68, 73, a 49, a 53 in his last 5. Those are some sick games right there. So I see why his price is up to 9,200. Are you going to roster Oladipo tonight? Consider your Nicky boys.
I don't think you need to. I mean, he's way priced up.
If he goes for 68, you do.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to play well against New York, but usually they do that in New York. This one's in Indiana. I think there's better matchups to be had. Like Miles Turner has a good matchup against Enes Kanter. Look, don't get me wrong. I like Oladipo a lot. He's been performing unbelievably lately. I have what's
got into him, man?
I mean, he's always been a good player. I've said this many times on the Magic.
Now that he's the only guy in town in Indiana.
Yeah, he was on the Magic, and then Fournier was there.
Right.
And like they're the same kind of player, and then they sent him over here. But I like Tyreke Evans, and like if I were to have exposure to 3 shooting guards, Tyreke Evans, I guess, would be my safest play, just because.
For the record, I doubt I'll pay up for those, but those are just some sick game logs. But go ahead.
Well, I like Redick. I really have a good feeling about Redick tonight. So, I'm going to do Redick and Evans in most of my shooting guard FanDuel lineups. And
Livingston's suspended 1 game. He might not even be playing tonight unless he appeals.
Who? Redick?
Sean Livingston. Remember you said if Curry's out, Livingston?
Well, I only said that just to just to be like,
Get a point.
no.
Right.
I said it to be perfectly clear, but as of now, I have Curry in my lineup. It says he's probable, and it's his left hand or his right hand. I mean, it shouldn't really matter,
I
but
think it was a shooting hand, but I'm not positive.
so hedge a lineup with Durant. I don't. If Curry's out and Sean Livingston's out.
Well, let's talk a little about Klay Thompson, who I like anyway at 7,000, and Devin Booker at 7,000. Both those guys I like. You mentioned Tyreek Evans at 7,400. I'm probably going down a little. I'm not playing for Oladipo. I'll probably not pay for Beal or Mitchell. But shooting guards deep again. Booker, good price there at 7. Thompson at 7. Middleton 7. Drew Holiday I like at 6-7. Harris at 6-5. Deep position tonight. And we can keep on going down to Justin Holiday 5-8. All kinds of guys. Tell me who you like best. 11 game slate, so it's shooting guards usually a deep position anyway on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's just like, where do you want to find value? Like, yeah, I actually am not staying away from Booker a little bit, just because Covington's going to be on Booker. So, like, I'm more inclined to maybe go to, like, TJ Warren. I like Klay Thompson a lot. I don't love Middleton. Drew Holiday's perfectly viable. I think he's actually a great play. It's just like you have to pick like 5 guys from shooting guard and just rotate them in and out. If you don't like Jamal Murray, I have no problem going Gary Harris. I would stay away from Jeremy Lamb with.
To interrupt, do you agree it's not a night to punt shooting guard?
No. I don't think it is a night to punt. Like the lowest.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think you punt shooting guard tonight.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I could see is like, if you really want to go as low as J.R. Smith, like he has a good matchup, DVPs are fine, but you're hoping for 33 points. Like, are you really going to hope for that? Tyreek Evans is a great player, and he's like starting / coming off the bench. Like he put up 59.4 points in his last game. Like he has he has a good matchup against either Jeff Teague or whoever he's guarding off the bench, Tyus Jones.
I'll tell you, I like at that lower end that's not really punting, a 5,500 Nicholas Batum. He played better his last game. He's still only 5,500. We know what kind of ceiling he has based on last year. And you mentioned JJ Redick at 57. If you wanted to say punt the position, you could pay for those 2 guys. But I don't call 5,000 punting really. Batum and Redick, Justin Holiday in that 5,000 range right there. Avery Bradley 52 is probably about as low as I go. Although JJ Barea has been playing better, or playing well, I should say, at 5,000. Didn't mean to interrupt you there. What else were you going to talk about shooting guard?
Yeah, that's actually it. I mean, I'm excited to get to this Knick game conversation, just because. Okay, just so you guys know, the lineups, the projections are changing right now. If Courtney Lee is being guarded by Victor Oladipo, and vice versa, you need to have Oladipo in your lineup. It just has to happen. I mean,
I halfway convinced you without convincing you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like originally I thought Courtney Lee was going to do like a little bit of Bogdanovich, and I didn't realize Tim Hardaway was out, but you have to roster Victor Oladipo against Courtney Lee. It's just not going to be a thing. I think it's just going to be Victor Oladipo on one end and Enes Kanter on the other.
I like Kanter tonight. I like Kanter. I was going
to try to talk up Bogdanovich, but I love Kanter tonight. If you don't like Kanter, you can hedge him with Beasley. That'll be a nice save. But I do think Kanter is a great play in the $6,000 range. And then, yeah, so you have to put in. So I'm going to be doing Redick and Oladipo. I didn't realize that because with Tim Hardaway, somebody could actually guard Oladipo. But without Tim Hardaway, we can't guard Oladipo. So, pay $9,200 for Oladipo. But then don't pay up for another shooting guard. Just go down to Redick. And like I still have money. Like I'm dealing with a lot of cheap players in my lineup tonight. Like I still love Jamal Murray. I have Steph Curry in my lineup. Redick looks great. I have to refigure this Bojan Bogdanovich thing, which could still work out fine, but Courtney Lee is a viable play. And then down below, I'm locking in Enes Kanter. So there's ways to construct your lineup tonight, and you can fit an overpriced $9,200 Victor Oladipo. But now that I just saw that matchup, you definitely have to play him. That stinks.
All right. Well, Lou says you definitely have to play Oladipo. I wouldn't put a definite behind it, but we just mentioned some of his ceiling games, and if he even gets close to that, you may need him. You may need him. As deep as I think the position is tonight, I think you can go lots of different places at the position. No one has the ceiling that he does, except for maybe Booker, who I already mentioned I like. I mean, shoot, you could pay up for both of them, play Booker and Oladipo. Yeah, I the lowest I would probably go, like you mentioned, J.R. Smith, Etuan Moore, if you really wanted to punt something down there. But I like Batum at 55. I like Klay Thompson, Drew Holiday, Redick. I like Evans. All right. Well, let me ask you something. Moving over to small forward, Darius Miller at $3,700. The optimizer was giving me him. He's put up 15, 21, and 18, but he's been playing a lot of minutes now for the Pelicans. Over his last 33, 27, 25, 22, 27, 28 minutes. Those his last 6 games. Before that, 21, 28, 21, 21 minutes. He's playing minutes. I guess he's been playing over Cunningham. He's put up some points, 23, 21, 23. He's got some points in there. Would you punt with this guy, Darius Miller, tonight, going against Golden State?
Not unless you want to fit 3 $9,000 players in your lineup, which I'm actually finding able to do without playing a $3,700 player. But like, if you want to fit Curry,
okay.
But yeah, like I don't feel a need to go that low. Like, yeah, he's getting the minutes, but he's getting the minutes and he's not producing. This would be like a blowout scenario.
I just thought maybe he'd get a little more usage without.
No. He played Golden State 4 games ago. The team he's playing tonight, he scored 22. I'm sorry, he had 22 minutes and he only had 9.9 points. I wouldn't go that low. There's a lot of value tonight.
All right. Well, then let's talk about some of the high end guys. Who do you like at the high end on small forward?
All right. So this slate gets me so aggravated. Just because I like TJ Warren. I'm going to be the guy that fades Devin Booker because Devin Booker is going up against Covington. And that matchup like suits Covington a little bit better. Like and TJ Warren now goes up against Sacric. So I think on the safe end, Warren's your play. My high end play is Kevin Durant, especially if Steph Curry doesn't feel right and starts dishing out the ball and just like gets like 25 assists. Not literally, sorry, that was an exaggeration. But there's times when Curry does that, and we'll just let Durant go crazy. So I think Durant's your high play. And then I have no problem with Damari Carroll, and I have no problem with Taurean Prince. Just so mediocre, and he did play Brooklyn in their last game. They're playing back-to-back games against Brooklyn. He had fantasy points in 28 minutes. Damari Carroll on the other end against Atlanta had 27 points in 30 minutes. So these are just fillers that if you really want to go down to. Someone that I originally liked before I liked Oladipo was on Indiana, Bogdanovich.
You kind of glanced over Damari Carroll. I like Damari Carroll at 6'1".
No, I like him. It's just like I watch his games a lot. No, don't go Bogdanovich. I watch his games a lot, and it's just like I don't know. Like they play the matchup a lot, so it's not a safe play. It's a GPP play. Other games that I like.
I think you could pay up for LeBron if you wanted to. I would have no problem with that.
Yeah, I have no problem going Courtney Lee. Usage and fantasy points are going way up.
Yes.
Since no Cantor, so you can go Oladipo and Lee. Yeah, I don't think that Oladipo is gonna foul Lee out, and I think that Lee might be tired, but nobody wants to get shown up on the court. So like, if Oladipo goes for 40 actual points, I think Lee will try to get his. So I like Lee at 5,500. Just to remind you, I made a crazy call the other day. Sean Livingston has been suspended. Oh, you already. Isn't it crazy? I hate how you get news quicker than me.
Because it's not that very hard. We've talked about it.
Yeah, I know. I got to get on Fantasy Live. But just so you know, the other night I called Gilchrist and I forgot to brag about it. He ended up getting 28 points. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
so
Yeah.
the San Antonio game is weird. If you want to go to small forward there, they do have a good matchup against Stanley Johnson. It just looks like their entire team is injured right now.
Yeah,
Am I
Rudy
wrong?
Gay's probable though, and what's his name? Anderson, I think's out, so Gay should get a little more usage there.
Yeah, Gay is a good play today. That was a good rhyme right there. but but
I don't
yeah,
mind Jonathan Simmons at 5'6". I don't mind Covington. I always never mind Covington. He did pull it off for me the other night when he dropped 40 some, 49 he put up the other day for me. But that's the thing. Is he gonna? Look, we know that mathematically it's stupid to say they're not going to hit their ceiling 2 days in a row because, of course, they can. But it's hard. Excuse me. Guys like that putting up their ceiling 2 games in a row. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it just feels that way sometimes. You mentioned Taurean Prince. I like him. He's a decent play down at 5'7". I think Lance Stevenson at 4'5". If you wanted to punt, I'd be behind that. I think you could. You mentioned Bogdanovich. You could punt with him at 4'5". But these are more punt plays than the actual value plays.
I apologize for interrupting. I actually also see Kid Gilchrist has a favorable DVP matchup. Now that he's back into the swing of things, he's going up against an Orlando Magic team that allows 47.8 points to opposing small forwards on the season. And since Jonathan Simmons came into the starting lineup, they're allowing 52.1 over their last 5. So
then you should like Carroll versus Atlanta. They are the 4th worst over the last 5 versus small forwards.
I'm actually looking at Gay as like a GPP play, but a little bit safer are those two that we just mentioned. I have no problem. Who did you just say? I heard the team.
I mentioned Carroll again going against Atlanta because of their bad DVP recently versus small forward.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I might be locking in Ilyasova at 5,600 on the power forward end, so that would make sense. But I do like Courtney Lee. I like Warren in a little bit of a safer play. And if you want to go down, I think just to sum up, Kid Gilchrist is as low as I would go, beside Rudy Gay, but those are GPP plays.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
you wouldn't play Juan Hernangomez as a start? He's starting tonight.
I don't.
No, you can't. You can't. He's going up against Harrison Barnes. It's like.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say probably not anyway. I don't. No, but we will talk about Plumlee, who I don't mind at center. All right, so I agree. I like Warren. I think you could pay up for one of the big guys if you wanted, but I think tonight could be more of a even night, especially if we're paying up for shooting guards. You know, that kind of lots of times when I pay down for shooting guards, then I definitely try to get LeBron and the freak in there. So I'm not sure. It's a huge slate tonight. I mean, these are the nights I definitely recommend playing some of the mini slates, playing the after hour slates just to get some smaller exposure, or game stack some things. You can do that. It's good nights to do it. But 11 games, and there's just not a lot of there's no. I don't see any like someone that's just standing out as a value in 11 game slate. Normally you have that, which I guess is good because then we don't have 57% ownership, and some do on an 11 game slate. But there's no one that's like, oh my god, you must start him because ABC is out. You know, so at least none that I'm seeing right now. Moving over to power forward, we got the top guy, Ben Simmons, always in play for me. He's 10,500, still listed as power forward on FanDuel, even though he's freaking a point guard, basically. Have you watched Ben Simmons play, Lou? Have you watched him play?
Yeah, I actually haven't watched him play as much as I should be, but I see the matchups.
It's so funny when they try to.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, so you always talk to me. Lou's always better me looking at the exact matchup of who's playing who that night, and it's so funny because you watch Simmons and then they start rotating guys, then all of a sudden, like the covering him, then the power forward. It's like they don't know who to put on him because he's basically the point guard, and he creates a ton of problems. But that's why he's so good. LaMarcus Aldridge 8-4, Aaron Gordon 8-4, Draymond Green 8,000. Wrap out your top high end guys. Derek Favors, who I don't think I'm going to tonight. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson are next. Markkanen, Tobias Harris. You know me, a sucker for Tobias Harris at 6'4". Guy I do like is Thad Young at 5'7", going up against the Knicks with no Porzingis. I definitely like Thad Young at 5'7". But are you going to pay up for Simmons, Aldridge, Green, any of these guys?
Let me see. Or let me just make it clear we got some really great DVPs to exploit. Mainly power forwards against the Bulls, the Pistons, and the Suns. Those are your three worst. Suns being the worst. So if you take a look at these matchups, Marquise Chris is going up against Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons becomes my favorite play. Other than that, I also just mentioned, who did I mention? The Bulls. That's because of Markkanen. Crowder's not a horrible play tonight. Not one of my favorites. And then, other than those DVP plays, I would feel comfortable playing Ilyasova as a value play. If you don't want to play Enes Kanter and think he's going to get into foul trouble, you can play Miles Turner and then play Michael Beasley. With no Kanter in the lineup, Beasley should be in store for a great game, but I do think Kanter is the play there. Other than that, I have no problem with Thad Young, but don't forget Michael Beasley's a big guy, so he's not an easy matchup. I do like the John Henson play a lot. He's been relatively safe. For his price, I have no problem with him. He's in a good rebounding matchup tonight. I'm staying away from Jason Tatum. Saric, no. The only thing that looked really appetizing to me in terms of DVP was the Ben Simmons play, and then Ersan Ilyasova is coming into that Brooklyn matchup. Other than that, I guess your safest play would be a Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, no? I mean, look at the matchup size, and it's just those game logs scare you. But maybe you go to Booker or something. But one of these power forwards against Atlanta should do really well.
Yeah, is it Trevor Booker? Is it him, or do they just kind of split? You hope so. Jefferson's kind of been a letdown. Well, he's been injured too, so he hasn't been playing as much. But yeah, I could see that. Like I mentioned, Thad Young. I mentioned. You mentioned Ilyasova, who's a decent GPP play. Ferrier going against Dallas, probably not. Taj Gibson, I could go back to at 5'2" against Memphis. Which Marquis for Marcus Morris? Which one has the better night tonight, Lou? One goes against Utah, one goes against Milwaukee. They're both the same price at 5,000.
Give me 1 second. I don't answer.
Put you on the spot. I'm going to say it's Marcus Morris for Boston. Get that slightly better.
Let me see. I just don't answer questions haphazardly.
Which is one reason we love you, though, because you get into the numbers.
Yes. So, Marcus Morris. For me, I believe the better play is really quick 3, 2, 1 Marcus Morris.
Yeah, I agree. I played him the other night. He did well. I don't expect a huge game from him, but he's starting to get his shot.
No. He has a good matchup. He's bigger than Middleton. He'll need to guard Middleton because, whether you agree with it or not, Middleton's a major player on that team, and he's on the court, 35 minutes a game. And Marcus Morris will have to stay on the court. He has a 1.7 plus minus against Middleton, 1 fantasy point per minute. Any foul trouble. So I do like Marcus Morris against Middleton. Yeah, I mean, Brown,
I don't mind it.
Brown is guarding a Antetokounmpo.
Right.
Kind of discard Brown there, I guess. Don't invest in Brown at all.
I think you could even go down to JaMychal Green on Memphis, but that's probably about as low as I'm going to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that.
Right. How about Beasley, 5,000 versus Indianapolis? Indianapolis, Indiana.
The only way I play Beasley is if it's a lineup that you like Cantor. You can simply take out Cantor, put in Miles Turner, and then put in Beasley at the power forward position. That's the perfect, quick switch head situation because if Cantor is out, it will be because of superior play by Turner. Conversely, if Cantor's out, Beasley will have a great game. Against Houston last week, he had 22 points, actual points in the first half. So, I don't like Beasley with Cantor in the game. They're the same kind of player. They hang around the rim, and I don't like them together. But if you have exposure to one or the other, it would be nice.
All right, I'm answering someone's question here real quick. Having problems getting to the optimizer. All right. Yeah, I think it's not a deep position tonight compared to some of the other ones, but there are places you can go. You know, I keep falling back on that Thad Young play against the Knicks, and it's hard to get Simmons out of my lineup, but he did let us down the other day, so maybe I could go Thad Young and Tobias Harris and maybe just spend about 12,000 on total. I'm trying to figure out ways to get Cousins in. Moving over to the center position, I love Cousins going against Golden State at 11,000. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out ways to get Cousins in my lineup. You gonna play Cousins tonight, Lou?
Yeah, I'm really on the hedge game. In terms of having the majority of my lineups having Enes Kanter and then maybe a 15% hedge fade to Thad Young. I'm sorry, to and Michael Beasley. I apologize. And then you could even do Miles Turner, Michael Beasley, and Thad Young. I have no problem with that. I think Thad will get his tonight.
By the way, if I forgot to mention, I do like Aldridge going against Tobias Harris at power forward. But go ahead. Yeah. So that's the thing. I think I'm gonna do.
I agree with that.
3 lineup.
I do like Aldridge a lot.
Yeah, I do. I just make sure we want to skip over because I do like him. I can see.
So he was just getting rested on Sunday.
Right.
So don't let that discourage you. He played 2 games against. Partially against Marc Gasol, one in Memphis, one home and one at Memphis. So then against OKC, they just took the opportunity to rest him.
Agreed. Leonard's getting closer to coming back, but he's not back yet, by the way. So yeah, I could see that. I could totally. So wait, Ben Simmons. I'm seeing different things about Ben Simmons having his minutes monitored because he has an illness. So one thing said he won't. One thing said he will. Keep an eye on that, guys. Keep an eye on that whether they're monitoring Ben Simmons minutes tonight. All right. So anyway, back to center position. I could see going Cousins, but I love it. I love the Kanter play. He's only 6'6" on FanDuel. Good play there.
Without Porzingis, just look at his last 2 game logs.
Right. He's gone over 40.
he was hurt 3 games in a row. Easy 40-point games. Against Orlando and Miami. Granted, those are both teams that let up a lot of points to centers, Vucevic and Whiteside. But he's doing it in limited minutes, and he's grabbing the boards. And that's it. He hasn't even had the blocks and steals. Imagine he has 5 blocks, 5 steals to go. So yeah, I love Kanter tonight. And if you don't like him,
he's picking up some of those Porzingis points and rebounds, and that's what's.
There is nothing easier to do than like a lineup, go Enes Kanter, and then just to hedge your lineup. If you're nervous about Kanter, take out Kanter, put in Miles Turner, and then take out your least confident power forward and put in Michael Beasley. Biggest recommendation for a quick hedge.
Another guy like in that range is Dwight Howard at 7'4". I don't mind him going against Vuk, who I don't mind either going against Howard. I could go either of them. I think we got deep position. You could go Kevin Love at 8,000. That one day that I half complained about him, He went off for 54, and then he went 42 the next night, 35 his last time out. So he's been playing well. I could get behind Kevin Love. I'm probably not going Towns against Gasol, probably not going Gasol against Towns. I might stay away from that 8,800 price range. Rudy Gobert, minutes limit. I'm not going Gobert.
Well, Fuego, let me interrupt you for a second.
What about Embiid? Would you go Embiid?
Well, I was looking at this upper range. I would go Embiid, but what about Andre Drummond? He's going up against a Spurs team that clearly doesn't have all their players today. Doesn't have anywhere near what they're capable of doing. He should grab 20-plus rebounds. No. He should be able to take advantage of Paul Gasol, an aging center that I don't think can really handle Andre Drummond. You called him the other night. Let's for the moment call you the Andre Drummond whisperer. What do you think about Andre Drummond? And just look at his last three of his last four. 53, 56, 35, 70.
So can I take a look at the DVPs? How did the Spurs do against the center?
Well,
it's kind of in the middle to the back, the last five.
You can't go by that because their lineup has been in such flux. And look at who they have starting right now. They have Tony Parker as a game-time decision. They have Danny Green as their only healthy player beside Paul Gasol. And LaMarcus Aldridge will be in there. Rudy Gay will be in there. I just like...
Yeah, who's going to rebound against him, right? Who's going to rebound against him?
Who's going to... unless they put LaMarcus Aldridge on him, but I don't see that happening, really. So...
Well, then, to answer you is yes, I do like Andre Drummond tonight.
But it is a slow-paced game in San Antonio, and Pop always manages to pull these games out. So it's a riskier, high-end elite play, but...
Yeah, I like these guys though in that 7,000 range, from Canner up to Love, from 66 to 8. I do like a lot of those guys in that range. I could get behind Horford. I could pick up behind any of those guys in that 6 to 8 range. So I think I'm either going to go all the way up to Cousins, or I'm going to try to drop down to that range. Any punt plays I did want to mention what's his name. Filling in for the Joker, Mason Plumlee at 5'8". I don't mind. He has let's see, what did he do the other night? Put up 27 in 30 minutes. I think he could get closer to that 1 point a minute range. So if he gets 30 minutes again, I think you're looking at about 30 points from him. What do you think about Plumlee?
Yeah, I don't mind it on DraftKings if you're trying to fit multiple elite players, stars and scrubs, but I probably wouldn't do it on FanDuel. Just one quick little mention, just for the DVPs. The most favorable in terms of last five compared to an actually good season average. Two teams that exhibit some of the best season averages towards the center position over the course of the season, but massively different numbers over their last five are the Wizards and the Celtics. So just take a small look at John Henson, which is a power forward, and then for the Wizards, Rudy Gobert is on a time restriction, so maybe Derek Favors you can take a look at, or maybe
I don't mind Gortat at value 4.7.
No, I wouldn't go Gortat. If anything, I would like go Beal or Porter.
How about Kyle O'Quinn? Would you play Kyle O'Quinn at 3.9?
Not unless it's a hedge off the original thing I mentioned, which was an Enes Kanter play, or you could do a Michael Beasley play, and then if you really wanted to waste or invest a third lineup, you could do an O'Quinn play, because one of those big men are going to have to play well. But I'm going to have a lot of exposure to Courtney Lee, too, in this next game, because somebody has to score.
Right, for sure. So, by the way, I do see confirmation Simmons won't have a limit. Freaking, I won't say who got it wrong the first time, but of course, Fantasy Labs had it right. Greg Monroe and that whole Tyson Chandler situation, I'm probably going to stay away from again. That whole Phoenix situation always gets on our nerves. Tyler Zeller, 3.8 maybe punt for Brooklyn, but I think I'm just repeating myself by saying I'm staying in that $6,000-7,000 range. You're paying up for Cousins. I'm gonna skip over Embiid tonight.
I didn't make it clear enough, but Cousins is like without Davis has the clear upside, and at an $11,000 price, it's not too much to ask for. But Enes Kanter just has such a nice matchup on a team that
I think I might go do 3 lineups tonight: a Kanter lineup, a Cousins lineup, and then one more. I'm gonna have to decide who that third one's gonna be.
Well, what you should do is keep your core, do a Kanter and Cousins lineup, and then just hedge your Kanter lineup with that thing I said. Just put in Turner and throw in Beasley, because that is something that's very plausible. If Kanter doesn't do well, I don't think the O'Quinn play is as likely. I think if Kanter gets into foul trouble, it'll be quick. And yeah, O'Quinn will come in, but I think Beasley will benefit most from that.
Right. I don't like I don't mind the Courtney Lee play. Let's do a quick recap. We got a couple minutes. Point guard, we like Schroeder. Dinwiddie, right? Kemba Walker, I didn't mind. I may have skipped over him, but I certainly don't mind him.
Steph Curry, Jamal Murray are my favorite plays. With Schroeder and Dinwiddie, I liked as well.
I could go down to Collison or Rondo if you wanted. I'm fine with that as well. We're not. Probably not putting the position. Go ahead.
No, and I like Chris Dunn. Going over to shooting guard, I liked Redick and Oladipo. You can even pair Courtney Lee at the small forward position and Oladipo together. But my favorite play was Redick. Who did you like? I
like Booker. I like Drew Holiday. I like Gary Harris over Barton tonight.
Tyreek.
I don't mind the Justin Holiday play against Cleveland and JJ Redick. I'm on board with your Redick play for sure.
I love this Redick play, and at 5,700, he allows you to do a bunch of things. I think they're just going to let him shoot over Tyler Ulis. Tyler Ulis is really small, so I just think that if Redick shots are on, he could go 4 for 3 in the first quarter. Which would set him up for a great game. So, so small forward, we got Lee. I like Courtney Lee. I like TJ Warren. On the upside, I think Durant's safe. I don't love the Covington Booker thing because they're guarding each other, but you definitely do. I know that. I like
Courtney Lee. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the Courtney Lee play. I like the DeMar Carroll play versus Atlanta. If I'm paying up, I could pay.
I think you play Lee and Oladipo together. I think that's something you got to do.
But not in the same line as Kanter?
No, you can. They're different players.
Okay.
What's the over-under? 215?
About 210. Team implied total of 100. So
yeah, someone's got to score. And I got no problem with playing.
And believe me, people always ask me, what's the most players on a team you put in your lineup? And I prefer 3. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like to do 4, but I've seen plenty of times people put 4 guys, especially when there's value to be had, and they're putting up good numbers. So you can put, the other day I think I saw Curry, Draymond Green and Thompson. Someone had all 4 of them in their lineup, and they were doing very well. So you can do it. I'm max, but 1 or 2. 2 is definitely just try like some of the correlations in DFS NBA. You put point guard in the center is a good one. But I think it's also more on individual players. How do certain individual players do with other individual players? Because they're guys that get along fine. Like I always mention Covington. Covington can have a good game, and so can Simmons, so can Embiid, so can these other guys with Covington. So you can play them in the same lineup. 2 power forward. I like Thad Young a lot. I mentioned Marcus Aldridge. I like him. Ben Simmons, Taj Gibson, Marcus Morris. Who'd you like, Lou?
Yeah, I like Ilyasova. Right now, I'm trying to get myself on Booker or Jeff Green because it's what my lineup construction is going towards. But
F Jeff Green. That's all I got to say. F Jeff Green. I'm so sick of him.
No, I know.
Because I go to put him in. I put him in, and I'm like, do I want to put him in? And then I take him out, and then he goes for 40 freaking points.
Well, let me say this. Marcus Morris is a nice play. Marcus Morris is a nice play. Thad Young is looking good at especially If you play Cancer, you can just go Young and Ilyasova. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm just trying to decide. But see, right now Damari Carroll's ending up in a lot of my lineups, and I didn't originally love him, but you do. So I'm gonna probably trust you because
hey, no, you do because you got me on DVP more. I did want to say congrats to Aaron Lay. I think Aaron took down tied for a GPP.
What was it, $1,000, $35 investment?
$1,000 off of $38, and gave us some nice words, and he said he loved the DVP stuff we talk about. So congrats to Aaron, winning some money this weekend, and he won not using our picks necessarily. He did use some of the optimizer, but he used the knowledge we have given you guys, which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, guys. Guys, just to be clear, don't just click the optimizer and yell at us when your lineups don't do well. Me and Fuego put a lot of time into the podcast and the articles and the updated information in the chat room. We don't guarantee you to win clicking the optimize button. We offer a lot more than just the optimizer. So I really recommend checking out Fuego's takes, my takes. If you listen to what kind of people we are, me and Fuego have a very different view on players, so you can take the stats for yourself that we're saying and
then use optimizer and make the decision. Yeah, you combine all three is what you do. It's what I do because I will absolutely look to see because there are things that the optimizer might see that I miss. And I always will take a look, but then you got to use your own knowledge. Another thing Aaron was mentioning was about the optimizer, and I was like, he mentioned some trends he was seeing. I was like, well, you know what? When you see those trends, X guys out, or you can, when the optimizer, you can adjust your own projection. So you can, if the optimizer says a guy's going to get 20 points, and you think he's going to get 22 points, that it makes a slight change. There's a slight change there. So, please play with that stuff too, but it is great to back up your own thoughts and to help you find things that you may not be aware of. And to wrap it up at center, I liked DeMarcus Cousins. We both liked Enes Kanter. I liked Dwight Howard, Kevin Love, and you could punt with Gortat maybe. Who'd you like? You liked Kanter. Who else?
I liked Embiid. Not for the price so much though. Drummond, if you're gonna go that high. Milwaukee, John Henson is in the good center DVP, but he's not necessarily a center on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I mean.
Oh, he is on DraftKings, not on FanDuel, right.
I love the Enes Kanter play, and I love the hedge with Miles Turner, switching one of your power forwards to Beasley, and then I guess like Greg Monroe and Tyson Chandler would be like my sneaky hedge. If you
Which
really
one though?
Well, you got to do both. You got to invest money in both. But
yeah, that's the annoying.
Yeah, I know. You waste one lineup, but you guarantee that you get that center spot. Hopefully.
No, what happens is they both get 20 and you're screwed.
No, well, I don't think that. Well, Chandler's been getting the minutes recently.
Yeah, he's been healthier. Yeah, well, and now Alex Len's kind of disappeared. But he put up 40 the other day. Chandler put up 40 the other day. So it's probably a Monroe night, to be honest with you. There's the Hillman, Fuego Steve math. Hillman math works.
Yeah,
so yesterday was Chandler. Today is Monroe.
Tobias Harris. No, but I think if you can afford DeMarcus Cousins, go up there. If not, go down to Enes Kanter. And if not, just go to Miles Turner.
And I just want to touch on one reason that we like Kanter so much is, and not just because Lou loves the Knicks, I like him too because of the whole Porzingis not being in there. We've talked about the past, his offensive prowess, if that's what you want to call it, for, I don't know if you call it that for Enes Kanter, but I am. We've talked about it, and when he gets the minutes, so when all of a sudden you lose Porzingis, who's scoring 20-some points a night, getting 10 rebounds a night, they have to go somewhere. It's not just, they're not just going to completely disappear. So the rebounds are going to Kanter. Kanter's picking up some of the scoring, and he's the big man down there where Porzingis was playing. So that's one reason. That's one of the reasons, and the major reason that. And if you look at his last two without Porzingis, what he's done. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's edition of NBA Live at 5. Congrats again to Aaron on his nice win this weekend, and we'll get some more screenshots out there hopefully tonight. Hit us up in NBA chat. We're gonna jump in there here probably about 6:15. I'll probably be in there, and I can start asking some questions. I'll get to them. Lou, appreciate it, and get that money tonight, people. Peace.